Okay, so if you're just popping on in here, this is live number 136. The top 5 reasons why you're not seeing more muscle definition and tone in your body. So we have a lot of new people. Every time I talk about muscles, we get a different group. Whenever we talk about belly fat, we get a different group. So it's like, it's pretty cool because obviously, I do these variety of lives to try to help people with different concerns and needs, right? But remember, this community is a fierce woman community sculpting powerful bodies and champion mindsets. So at the heart of it, when I initially created the group, is actually about building a lot of strength, a lot of muscle, a lot of fierceness, right, Sherry? Getting those burpees in. No, I'm joking. But this is actually why, because my lean, as Oshone knows, in my training is to train very fierce, very intense, build muscle, get your groove on. But what has happened over the years of building our community is most women between 40 to 65 who've approached me want to build fierce muscle, but a lot of them struggle with a lot of belly fat, inflammation, and all of that. So that is why you may see me teaching a lot on that. But my natural lean is actually on building lots of fierce muscle definition, the art of bodybuilding, the beauty of being able to define your muscles. And if you guys have not seen Oshone, who's competed 5 shows, she has beautiful muscles. And that is actually one of my love of actually when you go train, how you can sculpt a body like a sculptor, right? So, Sherry, I just saw your comments. I did them, but I cried, but did them. Sherry, I'm training your inner fierceness. Sherry's in my transformation program, and I've convinced her to start liking burpees. Katrina, thank you for tagging everyone. Awesome. And I see Rochelle, you jumped in as well. Awesome. So if you are popping in here on YouTube, this is the Fierce Woman community where we sculpt powerful bodies and champion mindsets. Let's talk about a few wins quickly, and then we are going to dive into our topic today. So first off, I want to give a shout out to Michelle Carson. You might have seen me post about her, intro her yesterday. She also did a win post, but Michelle Carson is in my transformation program. She just started really about a week and a half. I gave her feedback about 4 or 5 days once she was in my app. So really the changes she made was about a week and a half, and she already lost 3.75 pounds, 1.5 inches in her body. But it's not just the numbers. I think why she's so excited and what we saw was her comparison photos. And between photo 1 and the second photo, between 1.5 weeks, her body did not even look the same. It was crazy. We were like, that's crazy. In 1.5 weeks, from being really puffy, bloated, red, rolls in her back to tight tone, clear skin, belly coming in 1.5 weeks. And this is why we were talking, if you have not seen her win post, you could put win post below. We will tag you on it. But she's so excited because we've started to change a lot of her nutrition and food and inflammation, like I talked about, right? So hi Lanita, I saw you jump in, and Cheryl, yeah, awesome, good to see you. So great job, Michelle Carson, super excited for you. And also just a shout out for her because she was very quick to make changes. She cleaned out her fridge, her freezer, and her pantry. And I just want to give her a shout out for that, because one of the things I see in my clients who are most successful are the ones who make changes quickly. And I saw that in Michelle. And Michelle, that's why kudos to you. I just know this transformation program is going to be, you're going to have amazing results because you apply very quickly what I teach you. So give a lot of hearts to Michelle. She did so well. Just cheer her on in her journey. I also wanted to give a shout out to Angelina Everett. I don't know if she's on here. She's usually very busy. I think she's also an entrepreneur. And, Angelina's story is actually super interesting. Now, she on her own had already started losing a lot of weight. She is in another program, workout with a trainer and all of that. I think she was something around 250 pounds But she has now dropped down to 190 pounds. So again, give her lots of hearts. If you guys are giving hearts, I can't see it. Like I said, from my phone, I can't see everything. But if you are, just keep giving hearts, because apparently I can't see hearts here. I can see your comments, but not like the little emojis that come up. But give her lots of hearts, because in the program, she's only been about 3-4 weeks in the transformation program. But this past week, she's actually lost another 8 inches off her body, for a total of 18.17 inches, 4.5 pounds, and she lost 4.43 inches in her belly. And the coolest thing about Angelina is that she's actually vegan. So it's actually way harder for her. And I know we've gone back and forth a lot on like her choices of food and inflammatory markers to help her figure out like what can actually work within the parameters of what she eats. And that's not easy, being a vegan and being able to stay clean, because a lot of vegan things have a lot of problematic things to it. So yeah, I see, way to go. Kimberly said, keep up the amazing work. I see, woohoo, ladies. So I see the comments. I probably just can't see the emojis, but you know, when I'm on Zoom and I look on my phone, when I do it that way, I can see your emojis and hearts and all of that. But I see your comments. So if you're writing the comments, that's awesome. So yeah, Angelina, keep up the great work. I know you're working very, very hard, and you have big goals for dropping down from 258 down to 190, and you're just going to keep going, right? I also want to give a shout out to all the ladies who are registered for the 21 win post, Devin, is that Michelle Carson did a win post of her wins from her past week. And so she talked about her wins in that post. If you wanted to see what her wins are, we can tag you on the win post there. In terms of the 21-day program, I want to give a shout out to the ladies that are registered. So we're excited for you. Jackie Slavinsky, Jackie Petaway, Lisa Peltier, who's on here, Rena Torres Mangado, Faith Michelle, and Karen Ben Raw. You guys are all registered. We are excited for you. The registration for the 21-day anti-inflammation system cuts off on Saturday. So you have about 2 days to be able to register for this. And for all the other ladies that are listening, who were in the 21-day anti-inflammation system, because you have lifetime access, you can join in to the 21-day anti-inflammation system again starting on Monday. So I know Cindy Hutchinson, Lisa White, like a lot of you who've done it, who maybe did it part way, or maybe like wanted to do it again, you guys can feel free to join into that as well. So if you have not heard about the 21-day program, or you want to learn more about it, put 21 below so that we can send you more information. 21 or program, and we will send you more information in regards to it. Okay, and this is in regards to really learning how to know your nutrition and decrease inflammation in your system. Okay, awesome. I see Antoinette. Devin, you registered as well? Okay, maybe if you did it in the last hour, I wouldn't know. But yes, put 21 just in case, because if you registered, I did not see your name on the list. And that's why if you register, you make sure you message us back, because we need to verify for sure you are on our list, okay? So make sure you put 21 below if you are registered. Awesome. Marco, you jumped in as well. Awesome. I will check for you, Devin, right after. Okay, awesome. So let's dive into this. So the top 5 reasons why you're not seeing more muscle definition and tone in your body. So we're gonna go through 5 points. However, it's kind of a cheat, because under point 1 and 2, there's 5 more points each. So I might as well say like top 15 points. But Clarice likes to over deliver. So there you go. So get ready, get your notebooks out, because there's a lot coming at you. So under point number 1, there's 5 more under point number 1, and there's 5 more under point number 2. Okay, so point number 1, you are not training the right way. Okay, or you're training the wrong way. Okay, so point number 1 is you are training the wrong way. So let me explain to you what these could be, and I want you guys to listen carefully and identify for yourself. If you don't have the muscle, muscle tone, muscle definition you're wanting, which one of these might apply to you, and I want you to type it below which one you feel like is you. Okay, so you train the wrong way. So number 1, under you train the wrong way, is you have no structure or program that you're following. Okay, this number 1 point, I know Natalie Chabot, who's in the FFF program. It was her number one thing when she came to me. She said, I jump around all the time. I do this, I do that. I go to YouTube. And she's like, I just don't see, for all the work I'm putting in, I don't see the muscle definition. And I know she for sure will watch this because she watches every one of my lives. And that is a very common problem. So if you jump all over the place, you have no structure program, you just decide what you want to do going into the gym, you're not going to get the definition you're looking for, because you're not giving yourself a chance to improve on like the move or improve your technique. And without that improvement, you cannot produce progressive overload. Progressive overload is the way to build muscle, right? And so a lot of people are kind of like shiny object syndrome, I call it. Ooh, that's a new move. Ooh, I see this on Instagram. Oh, I see this on TikTok. I see this. And then shiny object syndrome means you go for every new move out there with no actual structure, and then you try to chase everything, then you end up with nothing, right? And so you know, the ones who have very structured systems are usually the ones who produce really good results. So you might be number one. So if you're taking notes, maybe put down number one, but I'm going to keep going. So maybe you have no structure or program. Actually, you know what? Let's actually do this. Let's ask it now. Otherwise you might forget. Who here feels like they have no structure or program, or they are jumpers? Like you jump around. You're jumpers. You have no structure program. Okay, so if you are, maybe put that below in the comments. By the way, I see Sheila, Barbara, and Melanie jumped in. All right, so number two, you overtrain. Okay, number two. So this is very common for some women, not every woman, but I think this is Devin, partial program. Okay, so you have a little bit, but maybe not enough of a structure. So yeah, maybe we can talk more about that later too in Messenger. I see Avet also popped in, and Sonia, awesome. So you overtrain. So if you do way too much, I know Kat Wilson, if you are on here, we're having that conversation. We have her assessment tomorrow, doing another program for her. But one of my most biggest feedback for her is overtraining. The amount that she does, I read what she did, and I just was like, that is absolutely a recipe for so much injury right now. And so this is common in a lot of women who want to be really fit, who want to do a lot, but this will end up three things. You get injured. Kat has injuries. You start having more belly fat, and you don't have the muscle tone that you want. So overtraining is not necessarily better. Is that correct? More is not necessarily better. And it's something I've learned along the way too, because, if you're a pusher, you like to overtrain. So it's something I also have to remind myself. So who on here might potentially overtrain? If you feel like maybe you overtrain, put overtrain below, because that could also be why you don't see the muscle results that you want, right? Okay, so that's number two. And then number three is you undertrain. So then there's the opposite group, okay? And the opposite group is, you train. Yeah, kind of. You go once, twice, 1 week, next week once, then the week after 3 times, then 2 weeks, then, 2 times the week after that. So some people are actually, you're just not putting in enough work. You're just not actually going to the gym enough times and really training your muscles to get the results that you want, okay? Because in order to have proper muscle development, you need to have enough sufficient volume, okay? Sufficient volume is very crucial for muscle development in your body. And so not only the times in so Devin says, I used to overtrain and then got injured, so I probably undertrained now. Yeah, Devin. So I think too, Devin, I want to go back to that first comment you made, is if you don't have a structured program, it's more easy to overtrain and undertrain, if that makes sense, because you'll kind of yo-yo because you're not following a structured program. So it kind of goes back to having a very systematic approach to it. But I appreciate you contributing your comment. Yeah. So if you undertrain, it's either you're not going to the gym enough, or within the time you're in the gym, you're not doing enough reps or sets. In general, yes, you know, the general is about 3 sets. And I always say it's like a story, beginning, middle, end. You kind of need those 3 sets, but it's kind of the minimum, okay? If you talk to bodybuilders or you really want to get into competition, that may not even be sufficient enough, okay? So at least 3 sets. And then, yeah, there's ranges of rep ranges. But yes, hypertrophy training ranges more into the 8 to 15 ranges. It could even be 20, could even be 30, depending on what you're trying to train and the type of sequencing in your workout, meaning what kind of burnout do you want to produce in that muscle fiber. So, but in general, like, I don't want to give exact total numbers yet. I want you to have the concept that a lot of people actually don't train enough, or they yo-yo the other way and they overtrain. Okay. So you want to be careful. So how many of you feel like you undertrain? Put undertrain there. So is it overtrain or undertrain? Kind of put it below. What do you feel? Okay. Number 4. So this is still under number 1 category, which is you don't train the right way. Okay. You're training the wrong way. Number 4 is you don't hit the right muscle groups. Okay. You don't hit the right muscle groups. So specificity of your training is very important. Specificity of your training is you need to hit certain muscle groups in your body to produce the shape that you want, okay? And like in terms of like every body part, there is different angles of it, right? So for example, when you're trying to train your shoulders, there's your front delt, your medial delt, and your rear delt, right? It's not just your shoulders. You may think you're just training your shoulders. No. There's 3 muscles you got to train if you really want to really define it. And let's talk back, right? We all love a beautiful back. And obviously when I competed and, really when you're flexing on stage and doing your lat spread, you see all the muscles and it's like a canvas. When you train your back, you say you train your back, but the back has a lot of muscles. So what specifically are you training in your back? Because if you train your lats over your rhomboids and the middle, that produces a different look, right? And so it does matter how you hit your muscle group. And if you're not knowing that and you hit generally, then you're going to have maybe that nice, maybe just like a general muscle tone, but you won't actually have the nicer sculpted definition. Sculpted definition is slightly different in the way you need to train and specifically hit into that angle of that muscle, which I'm going to go into the point later in another point with you guys on that. So muscle size and muscle definition is actually 2 different things to train. So in number 4 here is you don't hit your muscle groups properly. And that's why you're not seeing the muscle definition you want, right? I see Sharon jumped in, and Anika, thank you for the fire emoji. I see that. Hi, Yvette as well. So is this you? If you don't hit the muscle groups properly, then I want you to put you don't hit the muscle groups properly. And by the way, like I said before, if you guys are typing comments in here and I'm not responding to them, it's because it's only showing me certain things right now. And I think I told you guys before, I've gone back to the comments after and I've seen all these responses from different people. I'm like, I never saw it on my screen. So if you are typing something, I'm not seeing it. It's like literally, I don't know, Facebook doesn't show me everything. And I think it has sometimes to do with, because I'm going live from my phone right now, I think it will show me comments from people who are using iPhones. I have this suspicion. I don't know why. But if you don't have an iPhone, I don't think I can see your comments right now. I think that's right why. But when I go from my Zoom, I can actually see everyone's comments. So if I'm ignoring your comment, you're like, why isn't Clarice commenting back? It's because I can't see it. I'm seeing lots of Devin's comments. Devin, do you have an iPhone? I can see your comments really well. So, Oshone is here. Oshone, you have an iPhone? I can see your comment there. So that's good. You guys can type a comment, and if I'm not responding to it, it means I can't see it. So I apologize. But keep typing the comments there. So, because we'll go back and check, right? Kimberly says, I don't have an iPhone. Oh, but I saw your phone. I saw your comment. So maybe that philosophy isn't true. But Oshona, you're using your laptop right now? Okay, well, I can see your comment. So if I see Jennifer's eyeball, so if I'm commenting back on yours, it means I can see you. If I've never said your name, it means I can't see what you're writing, which I will see later when I go back to the comments, okay? But yes, if you don't hit the right muscle groups, put that below, like not hitting the right muscle groups. And Anika, I could see your comments. It says iPhone. Jennifer, I'm on an Android tablet. Okay, so I could see it. So awesome. Typically, if you type something, I will acknowledge it. So if I don't acknowledge it, it means I probably didn't see it, okay? So that was number 4. Number 5, so this is still under the number 1 category of you don't train the right way. Number 5 is you do way too much cardio or group classes, okay? And I know that that's something I've spoken a lot about in the past. You do way too much cardio or group classes, which not every woman does it anymore. I feel like the trend is different now, but I think it's important to talk about, because if you're someone who loves to run a lot, who loves tons and tons of group classes, just be a little bit careful, because you could be overtraining, just like we talked above, and too much cardio will actually break down your muscles, right? So if you don't actually have a lot of muscle tone, you might want to ask yourself why that is, right? Like at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, is the work I'm doing producing results? If the work you're doing is not producing results, then you have to ask yourself what needs to change. Otherwise, it's the definition of insanity, right? And so I have group instructors that come to me, or we chat out over a Zoom chat, and they teach tons of Zumba classes, tons of group classes, but they are maybe slightly overweight or have belly fat and not a whole lot of muscle tone. And I think that's something I've commented even to them personally. So this is why I bring it up to all of you. If you do too much cardio, do too many group classes, and you don't have your muscle tone, you might be encouraging muscle loss by doing that, okay? So if you are somebody who does too much cardio, you can put too much cardio below, or too much group classes, maybe identify that for yourself below, okay? And number 6, still on, I said 5. See, I told you I'm an over deliverer. This is still under point number 1. You don't train the right way is number 6. There's another point to this, is you don't train with the right technique. Now, this one's a biggie. I'm going to say this one's really big for everyone, including sometimes my own clients, okay? So you can have the right program. You can not overtrain, not undertrain, not do too much cardio, but you don't have the total right technique of execution. Now, this will take some time because technique requires time to actually build on and get better at. But a good example is actually Sherry, who's on here. I did her assessment, and I remember correcting, and you just made a joke in the private group yesterday, correcting your squat position and how you squatted, and you went from like not really feeling it in your legs or your butt much to really feeling it in your butt. And Michelle Carson is another one when we did her assessment. When we finally, and Pamela Urin as well, when we finally did the assessment on the squats and the lunges, and I corrected the technique of the, it was like instantly, it was like, whoa, like that is really hard. Or I've done, like Pam, I believe, does lots of boot camps, or group classes, and she does tons and tons of squats, but she's never felt her squat or lunges the way that she did when we correct a certain technique. And so you have to remember, just because you do the movement does not mean that the movement is effective, okay? Effectiveness means the ability to create change in your muscle. You can do a move correct safely, meaning it's not unsafe. I've seen many of you do squats. That is not that it's wrong, it's just not as effective. So you have to ask yourself, are you training in a way that produces effective results? Or are you doing 100 squats in your boot camp class or whatever you're doing, but you're only producing about 20% effectiveness? That is better than nothing, but it's not going to be the greatest use of your time, right? I'd rather you do less squats and better squats or better quality of squats than just the number of squats, right? Technique of how you do deadlifts often is wrong. How your back is. Tracy Leong is going to watch the replay. We work so much on her back position to make sure her back is done properly, is in the right position for the deadlift. And if you're not in the right position, a lot of times I find squats and deadlifts, if you're not in the right position and you don't have a butt, it's going to tell you something. What I have found is a strong correlation between people who do not have a butt and doing squats and deadlifts improperly, okay, is because you guys tuck your pelvis in, you do not activate into your glute, and you work so hard to try to develop better muscle, but your technique in the end is wrong. So this is for all of you to think about. Do you train your moves technically properly? And if not, then you really need to get guidance on knowing how to train more effectively. Now, this goes for everyone. I just had a conversation with my powerlifting coach the other day. I wanted to have a better understanding of what is considered the gold standard of squats and what purpose is the squat depth. And so I'm always learning as well, but I'm functioning at a higher level, and I'm talking with my powerlifting coach on the different reasons why you want to squat at different depths and why you hit 90, below 90, and at, ass to the grass, as they say it. That's the saying. There's reasons for it. Now, there's a lot of technical reasons for it. Do you need to understand to that level of technique? No. But if you don't see muscle development in your body, I would strongly encourage you to get coaching behind it, because even coaches need coaches. And I absolutely love learning better technical execution. And if you don't have a lot of training in your background, or you're not seeing really great defined muscles, you potentially could be lacking technique. That might be the only thing you're lacking. Maybe you got a great program, you're not undertraining, you're not overtraining, you're not doing too much cardio, but you just don't do it technically right? Jennifer said, exactly. You corrected me on form and I could actually feel my deadlifts in my glutes. Yes, exactly, Jennifer. It makes a huge difference afterwards, right, Jennifer? And I think Sherry, or it was Michelle, like that I recently assessed, said the same thing. So awesome. Thank you for sharing. Hi, Arlethea. I see you jumped in. Rena, Doris, Yolanda, Jacqueline, lots of people jumped in, and Jennifer. Awesome. So before I move on to point number 2, okay, so that was just point number 1 of why you do not see the sculpted muscles you want. I want you to take a moment to be honest with yourself and put below which of these 6 points I just pointed out is you. Okay, be honest with yourself. Is it no structured program, overtraining, undertraining, not hitting the right muscle groups, doing way too much cardio or group classes, or not having the right technical execution? Which one is you? Be honest with yourself and maybe put it below. Hi, Jennifer. I see the hello. Sherry says, correct format makes a big difference. My butt is experiencing it. I love it. And you will thank me later for sure for your butt, Sherry. So put it below if any one of those apply to you. And yeah. All right. So that's number 1. Okay. So this point number 2. Sandy says, Oshone helps me a lot with technique. Excellent. Sandy's in the FFF group coaching program. And in the group coaching program, they attend a class where Oshone teaches the technical aspects of the lifting, which is excellent. Arlethea says, technique. Okay. Yeah, Arlethea, thank you for being honest. And I think that's going to help you just now know better, like, okay, maybe I need some guidance on how to do things properly or feel my muscles properly, right? And one thing you should ask yourself as well, Jennifer also says no structure here. I just see that come in. And Wanda says do not have the correct execution. But hopefully, Wanda, I think in the FFF, she's in the FF program. Oshone is helping you with that. I was going to say one thing for all of you who are commenting. Thank you for your contribution. It really helps. But I was going to say, really ask yourself, if you're executing a move, what muscle is it working? Okay? If you don't know what muscle it's working, that's the first problem. Okay? And if you say, well, it's working back, let me ask you, what part of your back? And what exact part are you working? Because the more specific you understand what muscle you're working, the better your execution will be, and the better the mind-body connection will be, and the better the potential muscle fiber breakdown will be at that point. They've done studies on this because your mind-body connection is very important, and the neural connection of what's happening from the brain to that motor unit is very important. So if you're like, well, this move works my back, it's like, but what part of your back is it exactly working, right? Like, you need to understand those specifics. If you don't know, talk to your coach or ask your coach. Even my own clients, feel free to ask me. If you're like, what's this move for? I'm happy to tell you which one it's for. So that's part of number 1, okay? Number 2, you lack proper nutrition to support adequate muscle growth, okay? So this is if you don't see muscle definition and tone in your body, you lack proper nutrition to support adequate muscle growth. Now, I have 5 points under this, so this is a big topic as well, okay? So I see Sarah jumped in and Janine jumped in as well. All right, number 1, the common one that you hear people say a lot is you don't eat enough protein. This is still common for most women. A lot of women don't eat enough protein, and I know that because obviously I track with food with hundreds of you guys in my app. So I know a lot of women do not eat enough protein. In terms of the amount of protein, this is a large range. That's why there isn't an exact amount. If you kind of, search for the standards and stuff like that, it's 1.2 to 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight. That's a large range. And you really need to know and have someone who knows what they're doing to give you that accurate assignment, because that's a really big range from 1.2 to 2.2 of grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. So it's like there's a big range, but even within that range, a lot of women don't hit their protein accurately. And typically, when we first start getting into protein amounts, most of the women that I assign that to, you guys are way too low. You guys realize right away you're way too low in your protein, okay? So that's pretty common, is not having enough protein. Number 2, this is the second mistake, okay? You think protein is all you need to support muscle growth, and you forget the importance of fats and carbs, okay? And this is because there's a big emphasis, and I was even on Instagram, and you see all these posts, and it says, if you want to lose weight and get fit, focus on protein. I'm not disagreeing with that, okay? I do understand protein is very important and one of the most important components. But I believe that if you just focus on protein, you forget the importance of your carbs and your fat. Protein is not the only source to produce muscle development. Your body needs its carbs. It needs its healthy fats. In fact, I would argue that women in menopause have way more need for healthy fats because of the hormonal changes, and that your preference for energy fuel source is actually fat and not carbs as you age. And there's a whole research done on this, and the preference for women is more fats. So now if you only focus on protein, then you're not going to have the right sources and energy sources and fuel and combination of nutrients for real good muscle development, right? Well, Devin, yeah, you're in menopause, yes. Most of the women in this group are in menopause, so you are in the right group, okay? So for number 2, if you overly emphasize protein but undervalue all the other macros or do not have a good macronutrient profiling, that may be why you don't have the muscle growth you do. Okay, so if you feel like you need to understand macros better, the balance of macros better, I want you to put macros below. Because I'm a strong proponent, it needs to be balanced. It needs to have a balance between all three in order for you to get your best growth. So put macros below, protein, carbs, and fat, if you feel like you don't really have the right combination on that, okay? So that's number 2. So yes, Devin, I see the macros. Awesome. Okay, so number 3, you eat enough protein, but you under eat your calories. Okay, so listen to this one really carefully. I see this often because the fitness world emphasizes protein so much. Now, again, I'm not saying it's not important, okay? Protein is very important and is probably the most important component of muscle building, okay? But again, if you get enough protein, but you under eat, do you think you're going to build a lot of muscles? Like, do you think, all of you listening, you get your protein, oh, I'm going to drink my protein shake, I'm going to do this, but your total calories in a day is under the calories of what you should have, you're not going to build muscle. Why? Now, I see Yolanda came in with macros and Rochelle came in with macros, so we will touch base with you. And Trina, I just saw you popped in as well. So the reason is if you undereat, you have to remember that your body needs resources for other functions. So you eat protein, but you're lacking in carbs or fats, then it's going to take those resources from your protein and it's not going to put it to muscle building and protein synthesis. It is going to put it towards other functionings that your body needs. In fact, if you undereat your calories and have enough protein, but undereat your calories, your body is going to steal the protein from here, and it's actually going to go through a process called amino acid catabolism or degradation. So it degrades the protein compounds into amino acids and then moves through a process into glucogenesis, meaning glucogenesis means your body takes non-carbohydrate sources and changes it into glucose. So your body will actually take amino acids, which is from the protein, and other things too, and turn it into glucose. So if you undereat, but you're like, I need to get enough protein because I only track protein. Now, if you're in my program and you're like week 3 or week 4, where I'm progressing you, don't worry, we're getting there, okay? But I'm talking about in general for people who like generally are like only focusing on protein, but they're not looking at their total amount they're eating. You could be taking away your muscle building potential because it's going towards everything else, right? And Jennifer says you're not going to lose belly fat either. Yeah, Jennifer, we're going to get to belly fat. We're going to have a big conversation about that. So you know me well that I will be talking about that, Jennifer. I see Dawn jumped in and Sherry says Fitness Pal helps me balance macros. Before I used it, never realized how I was forcing my body into starvation mode, which doesn't help the body build muscle. Exactly. A lot of women, Sherry. Let me tell you right now with some of my new clients too, my common comment to them is, you can't be eating at 900,000 calories, but the comment is, but I'm just not hungry. How many of you have said that before? If you haven't, that's awesome. But a lot of women do say this. And I say, no, I know you're not hungry. That is not a good signal. If you're not hungry, your body is in the signal of storage. You need to eat enough calories, and good luck trying to build muscle with 900 calories in your body, right? Can I get a hallelujah for that? You try to build muscle on 900 calories, not going to happen. I understand it's very hard to eat more calories, especially if you don't know your nutrition. This is why I say you need to learn your nutrition. Go to someone who knows their nutrition to teach you, because if you're eating at 900 calories, 1,000 calories, or 1,100 calories, even the 1,200, although some of you that are at 1,200 right now, you're there because you don't eat a lot. naturally. So I'm trying to slowly progress you. But like if you're 900,000, 1,100, you are low and you need to get some help on that. Okay. So, I just see Timber jumped in. Anika said, I totally new and still catching up with all of these. Yes, Anika. Yes, definitely. This is all new. Lots of learning. Take notes, ask questions, talk to us in Messenger. We will help you learn more. Okay. Awesome. So, I see Devin gave a thumbs up. Okay, so number 4. So this is still under the second point, okay? The second point is you lack proper nutrition to support adequate muscle growth, okay? And so number 4 now. You think all protein are made equal. So I said this before that not all carbs are made equal, not all fats are made equal, and not all proteins are made equal. And I am going to say this because one of my clients had it in their logs, right? A hot rod protein is not good quality protein, all right? Hot rods is a poor quality choice for protein. So we got to choose good quality proteins. And we also want to be careful about all this stuff about shakes and like get your protein in, go to Costco and buy this big 24 pack of protein shakes. Be very careful about that, let me tell you, because those protein shakes ain't doing you any favors. You think it's doing you a favor, it's not doing you any favors, okay? Because the quality of those protein is not that great. And not only that, the amount of things that is in it can destroy your ability to actually build muscle, which is the craziest thing to think about, because you bought the protein shake to help you build muscle, but what's in it is actually inhibiting your ability to build muscle. This is why you need to understand your nutrition, right? So not all proteins are made equal. Make sure that what you take in as protein sources are good quality protein sources, okay? I'm also training a guy right now. If he watches this on YouTube, he's probably going to know I'm talking about him. Being careful about what you eat in those restaurants is also really important. Ain't quality protein, try not to put it in your body, okay? Kirsten just popped in and Sherry said, what is a hot rod? A shake. Sherry, you're just being funny. You're so funny. That's good. It means that you are now eating good quality protein, because Sherry's in round 2 of the transformation program now. So her Courage to Come Back program, she, in her original transformation program, Sherry lost, I think, close to 30 pounds off her body. So yeah, and now she's back to make things happen again. So, so if you haven't focused on quality of food, and you think you need to learn more about the quality of food, I want you to put quality below, because that is going to really impact your ability to build muscle. Can your body still take parts of the protein and use it? Of course. But again, this is my same thing I'll say to you, okay? Why are you doing a move? You can do a move properly, safely, but not effectively. Right? I said that earlier. You can do a move properly, safely, but not effectively, meaning it's only producing 20% of result, but you're not doing it unsafely. You're not going to hurt yourself. That's fine. But why would you settle for that? Why would you be settling for doing a move that produces 20% effectiveness when you can actually produce 90% effectiveness in it? The same goes for food. You go and eat a hot rod. I don't know why I'm on this hot rod train, but I saw hot rods. One of my clients is like, oh, she's talking about my food log. It's so funny. But yeah, if it's hot rods, right, then you might get, who knows, 40% protein from that. It's like not bad, at least 40% on it, along with a whole bunch of chemicals and additives and preservatives and nitrates in it. But, you would get 40% protein in it. But why are you not having a regular good quality protein and like egg whites that gives you close to 95% to 98% bioavailability of the protein source? Why are we going for a poor quality protein when you can go for a high quality protein without all of the chemicals in it, right? You guys understand what I'm saying about the quality of your protein is extremely important. So I'm just about to ask that. Oh, are you saying Anika? I don't know if I'm saying your name right. Are you saying you don't know what a hot rod is? Hot rods are like the pepperoni sticks, you know? Pepperoni sticks, you guys know what that is? Where like they like put all that stuff and put it into like a pepperoni stick. I don't know if that's what you guys are asking, but yeah. Timber says she wants to learn more about quality. We will reach out to you. Devin, for Sherry did the transformation program in 12 weeks. So about three months, maybe 3.5 months. Yeah, she did a great job. Karen, quality. And Karen, you're in the 21-day anti-inflammation course, so you're going to be learning even more about that. Yes, and so if you feel like you need to learn more about quality, put quality below. And number five, okay, for, again, this is point number 2, because there's like a lot of points. Because point number 2 is you lack proper nutrition to support adequate muscle growth. So number 5 is timing of food, okay? Timing of food. So nutrient timing is a very popular topic, and people talk a lot about it. The nutrient timing that I refer to isn't actually in regards to athletic performance, although that is a genuine topic for athletes. But because most people I train here aren't about to go into the Olympics, aren't about to step on stage in powerlifting or Olympic lifting, or step on stage to do bodybuilding, it actually doesn't really apply to you guys as much in timing for athletic performance. But when I say timing of food, what I mean is the distribution of nutrition throughout your day. The way your nutrition is distributed through the day is very important. If you don't distribute your protein equally or kind of throughout your day, your body doesn't have an ability to absorb more than a certain amount of protein per time, which means that you would greatly hinder your ability to build muscle if you don't actually have proper proteins spread throughout the day, right? Your body cannot absorb more than 25 to 35 grams of protein per sitting. So an example would be, and I saw this in a log again, would be not really well balanced macros. That's why if you don't know your macros, this could really affect it. But let's just say you're not really balancing your macros, so you go all day really without eating a whole lot of protein, and then you sit down and you eat an 8 to 10 ounce steak. That is a whole lot of protein. Might get your protein and the total amount of that meat in that day, but will your body absorb it? Will your body actually take that amount in? No. And in fact, too much protein all at once, what does that do for your body? It's going to stress your body, stress potentially your kidney, and absolutely, you eat too much protein, turns into fat. Who knew? Everyone talks about protein. Everyone says, get your protein in. You eat too much protein, it's going to turn into fat. So be careful about like this protein craze, getting all my protein in. I need protein, put on the protein shake, buy my protein at Costco. Be very careful, because that too becomes fat if you don't have the right amount, but right timing as well in it. So timing is extremely important as well. Not for athletic performance, that's a totally different topic. But timing in terms of the way your nutrition and your macros are distributed throughout the day, right? So Sherry says skipping morning, eating 2 suppers. Right, Sherry, exactly. That's not going to do your body any good, right? It's going to really cause a lot of stress for your body because you didn't feed it all day. Then suddenly you're giving it like 1,000 or maybe even 1,500 calories in like a supper. Your body's going to go into a stress mode right away, right, Sherry? So I know that you sort of know some of this because she was in the 21-day program. Yes, Sherry says gas station snack, hot rod. Yeah, it's a pepperoni stick. Exactly. So all right, so those are the 5 things in your nutrition is not proper for muscle development. So I'm sure some of this applies to a lot of you, because a lot of people, the issue is your nutrition isn't that great. So let me ask you, where do you sit? Which one do you struggle with? I want you to put it below if you haven't already, okay? Do you under eat protein? Do you not have the right macro balance in your eating? That you don't have your right balance of protein, carbs, and fat? Do you undereat your calories? Do you not pay attention to the quality of your protein? And do you not pay attention to the timing of your protein? Okay, which one are you? Maybe put it below. Do you undereat your protein? Like I said, macro balance, undereat calories, quality of protein, or timing. So put it below. And if you are typing it, like I said, I don't see it. Okay, so I feel like some of you are typing things, but I just don't see it. So, and in, you know, if you are on YouTube, put it in there as well, because I do sometimes see the comments in YouTube as well. Okay, so I see Elise jumped in as well, so good to see you. So that is number 2. Okay, number 2. So number 3, why you are not I see Sherry's comments, but I don't see other people's. So Sherry, you said timing and quality too for you. Yeah, I'm sorry. If some of you are typing, I have a feeling there's like a thought in my mind that some of you are typing and I'm not seeing it. I will see it later though. Okay, so number 3 is your fat percentage is too high. So you do not see muscle tone and definition, because if you have too much fat on your body, you can have all the muscle in the world, but it's covering your muscles, your beautiful muscles, you're not going to see it, right? And this is something that a lot of people may fail to recognize. Like, they work out really hard in the gym, they want to build a lot of muscle, but they still have like a pretty high percentage of fat on their body. And they're like, I'm not seeing my muscle tone and definition. It's like, yeah, you kind of have to reduce the fat percentage on your body in order to see it, right? Yolanda, I see you're under eating and not enough protein. Okay, Yolanda, I appreciate you sharing. And definitely, Yolanda, like, that's quite common, like not eating enough and then the protein is too low. So you're not alone in that, but yeah, we'll reach out to you, maybe give you some ideas. Hi, Elizabeth, I see you popped in as well. Okay, so coming back to fat percentage. Okay, so take note of this. You want muscle definition? You need to pay attention to muscle size, muscle shape, and low percent body fat. Those 3. And every bodybuilder knows that. You have to have the size on you. You got to have really great shape on you. And you got to have low enough percentage body fat. Okay? Now, I said it earlier above. Muscle size and muscle definition is actually 2 separate things. Okay? If you want to train muscle size, you need to train hypertrophy training, which is specifically the area that I train my women in. Although, as you know, I'm diversifying because I love learning, and it gives me a better ability to be a better coach, because then I understand even more so the difference between hypertrophy training, powerlifting, Olympic lifting, and all these different elements, right? But hypertrophy training is very closely related to bodybuilding, because we're trying to build the size of the muscle, okay? In order to produce hypertrophy training, you need moderate to heavy weights that you are lifting at least 8 to 12 reps, right? And so it's like a certain number of sets and reps I talked about above that you need to be lifting at quite a heavy weight to produce the size, okay? Now, that would just be size. You may not look defined unless you do the next thing. You will only look defined and you will produce shape if you actually train your angles of your muscle. Now, this is very specific to the art of bodybuilding. The art of bodybuilding is about taking a muscle and being able to understand the elements and the shape of that muscle and how to hit it at every angle possible. And of course, the one who understands this the best is Oshone, because when I trained her for her competition shows, we did a move in many different ways, different holds, different positions, different things, because we wanted to hit it at as many angles as possible to produce the shape. Muscle definition is very particular. You need to have some background in understanding what you're trying to train, what muscle are you trying to train, what is the shape of the muscle you're trying to train, Where is the insertion points and origins of the muscle line? And who is training you? Do they understand the technical execution of which angles it needs to hit at? So here's the thing is most people have general knowledge of lifting. And general knowledge of lifting is okay, and you're going to get general tone, which is good. And if that is your goal, which a lot of women tell me that is their goal, you're good. You're good. No problem at all. Like you just do what you're doing or the program that someone gives you. If there are women on here who are specifically looking for very defined muscles, that requires another level of training and requires a technical execution that you have to have knowledge in. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, or maybe you need to look for a coach who understands that and can teach that. For all my Muscle Accelerator clients, we've done a few muscle classes, if you guys remember. I don't know if any of them are on here. Tracy, Joanne, Diana, who else did it? Some of you did, some of them are not on here. My Muscle Accelerator ones, we would do a class specifically on how to hit the muscle more at different angles. And that is different. So remember, muscle size and muscle shape are two different things. You do need to train them in slightly different ways. Could they cross over a little bit? Yes. But that is why sometimes you can see someone who's doing a lot of group classes, who's doing a lot of like exercise, and they look fit, but they don't necessarily look super defined. And that is the reason. There is a difference in the training, okay? Muscle size and muscle shape. And then, of course, the third one is you have to have low enough percentage body fat. So what percentage body fat do you need to be at to start to see muscle tone and definition, okay? So general tone, if you are below 24% body fat, you will see some of that nicer muscle tone, okay? If you want to get a little bit more like nicer of the shape and more defined, you should be moving towards about 20% body fat, closer to that, okay? Now, if you want to become cut and like cut like a competitor, then it's below 20. And that is very hard to sustain. But it's possible, right? Like it's possible to sit, some people naturally, if they're a lean person, could naturally sit at 19% or something like that. But in general, for most people, below 20 is not as sustainable. So I would say anywhere between 20 to 24%. If you want to have a nice, lean, general toned body, that's good. You want to start moving towards a competition lean, then we gotta get your percentage body fat lower than 20. I see Rosalinda popped in. Rosalinda, you booked a call. I'm excited for you. So Rosalinda was in my previous transformation program and had some phenomenal results. Rosalinda actually used to compete back when she was 57. So she had some phenomenal photos. So yes, and I see Esther popped in, Helen popped in, Nayred also popped in. Yes, awesome. So how many of you feel like you need to reduce body fat on your body? So if you feel like you need to reduce body fat on your body, put reduce body fat on your body there. Because I guess it's just to answer your own question. If you're like, I don't see any muscles on my body, the first thing to ask yourself is, do you have a little bit too much fat on your body, right? Because you could be like not overweight, okay? But you're at 28% body fat, let's just say. You're not going to see that much muscle definition, right? You're not like super overweight, but you're not going to see that much muscle definition, unfortunately. You got to be honest with yourself, right? You're just not low enough percentage body fat. You're not going to see it, right? So Jennifer's reduced body fat. Timber says reduced body fat. Trina says reduced body fat. Yeah, exactly. It's very interesting. Jennifer, are you on an Android? Because I see Timbra, Trina, Margaret has a green video with it. I bet Timbra, Trina, Margaret, are you guys all iPhones? Jennifer, yours does not have a little green video to it. I'm trying to understand who are the people I can see comments from. That's why. But yes, I do see those comments. You guys want to reduce. Yeah, so you're on an Android. That makes sense. On an Android, you don't have a little green video button. And then Margaret's an iPhone, so I can see a green video button, and Timbra. Oh, interesting. Very cool. Okay. So, but I can see your comments, and you guys all want to reduce body fat. Exactly. So we will, connect with you more on that. So that is number 3. Okay. So remember this topic is what are the 5 reasons you're not seeing more tone and muscle definition, right? So let's go on to number 4. Number 4 is a big one too. Not as many points, but it's a big topic, especially for menopausal women. You guys are ready for this? Yes. Oh, I see lots coming in. Karen says reduce body fat. I'm at 20% but have a big belly. Right, Karen, and actually, yes, I think from your last photo, we need to talk about that because I don't think you're at 20% body fat. We're going to actually talk about that. She was in our previous FFF program. Rochelle says, yes, reduce body fat. Timbra, Margaret, awesome. And Denise just popped in, and Janet Elaine just popped in. Awesome. All right, ready for number 4. So, number 4, all my menopausal women, raise your hand. Pre or post menopausal women is pretty much everyone on here probably. All right, ready for why you have trouble seeing muscles? Yes, okay, is that your hormones are out of whack. Yes, when you hit into menopause, as you age, hormones is a big issue, okay? So in menopause, you have a significant decrease in estrogen and progesterone, which actually really affects your muscle mass, okay? Because of the decrease in estrogen and progesterone, you actually decrease in your protein synthesis, and it increases muscle breakdown processes, okay? And I mentioned this before because estrogen actually helps with maintaining muscle. And that's why women can actually have more endurance and they can go longer. It's more resistant to breakdown, right? Women have more estrogen, but as their estrogen drops, it means that protection is gone. It means muscles break down faster. Muscle synthesis is harder. As you age, testosterone also drops off. I mean, all of it drops off. And this is also for guys, for testosterone, also drops off. So when testosterone drops off, then testosterone is a key hormone for growth, muscle growth, and maintenance. So that also means it's way harder, right? Now it's harder to actually build muscle because hormones are dropping, okay? Now, the part of this is that there's another hormone at play. Not only is estrogen, progesterone dropping, testosterone is dropping, okay? Your body in menopause is going through more stress because it is changing, hormones are changing, and it inherently, menopause is kind of stressful for the body, right? So what happens is that cortisol starts to rise. Now, I did a whole live on cortisol just a few weeks ago. Cortisol starts to rise, and actually, your body becomes a breeding ground for inflammation. I might as well just go menopause and inflammation in the same sentence all the time. Because the situation that is happening, when estrogen drops down, estrogen is, it helps protect you against inflammation. But because estrogen drops, inflammation is no longer protected. So therefore, inflammation rises. But inflammation rises and cortisol becomes more, your body is stressed, so cortisol releases. Cortisol produces higher inflammation markers in your system. Then you have more inflammation rising in your system. Okay? So this is why those of you who are going into menopause, who are going into 40, 50, 60s, you guys always come to me and say, oh, something is changing, or I don't know what happened, or why do I have all the belly fat starting to come on, or I feel achy, tired, I feel all of the stuff you tell me. Do you guys see me? So, okay. So we'll talk about that. That's a good question, how to lower cortisol. So cortisol, right, is a big part of it, and the drop of estrogen, the drop of progesterone, and all of that. So what do we need to focus on? Because cortisol is also impacted by a couple other things, okay? As women age into the 40, 50, 60s, responsibilities are more, you're busy, mindset and a busy lifestyle definitely contributes to more cortisol. As a lot of you know, you guys have aging parents. You guys may face family deaths. You guys may have more responsibilities as a mom, as a grandma. And so mindset becomes a big thing, and cortisol continues to like spike in that. So mindset is another big one. And another part of this cortisol situation, and I talk a lot about this, is not paying attention to your inflammation markers in your food, okay? This is why I speak so strongly about inflammation, because if you are already in a inflammation breeding ground as a menopausal woman, don't address inflammation in your life and in your food, you're in for some serious trouble in general. Of course, every woman's different, but overall, I would say over 80% probably of menopausal women face massive symptoms of menopausal things because they're not paying attention to all the things that are causing their cortisol to spike and the inflammation to happen. So inflammation markers in your food is like I always say, if it's causing your gut distress, if it's causing intolerances, if it's like things that are creating stress response in your gut system, you're going to now create an inflammation cycle. And I believe that most menopausal women, why you have belly fat is because you have not addressed inflammation cycle. The inflammation cycle is you have a breeding ground for inflammation. Your hormones are dropping off like crazy. It becomes an open ground for attack. Your mindset's crazy. Maybe you're not, maybe you are, but it's like mindset's there maybe, but then you don't address nutrition. And inflammation is now being attacked in with food stuff, and your body can't get rid of the things that are coming in the food. Whereas when you're younger, why it doesn't matter as much is because your body actually can get rid of it faster. So it's almost like sometimes maybe your younger kids or maybe some of the younger males may not really understand because their body can get rid of it quickly, but your body can't, okay? And so here is the thing you have to understand is if you are inflamed, your body is going to secrete more cortisol. More cortisol is going to compete with your sex hormones, which means it will decrease further the production of estrogen and testosterone. This is very complex. This is why I speak about inflammation a lot, and you must control inflammation. Because if inflammation is high, cortisol's high, cortisol goes through this pathway where it needs to decide, well, cortisol is not the pathway, it's the end product. But the pathway initially of the hormones trying to decide whether to become estrogen or testosterone or cortisol is when your body is stressed, it's going to move the resources to cortisol, which means that you already don't have enough estrogen in your body. You already don't have enough testosterone in your body. If you have high inflammation, high cortisol, you're actually going to face low libido, like you're going to have, I guess just like mood swings if you've experienced that. And of course, absolutely difficulty in building muscle. You will have difficulty building muscle because you are already lower in your estrogen and your testosterone, but you have too high cortisol that's further competing for your sex hormones. And so this is something that's really important because if this happens, so your muscle building potential goes down, your libido goes down, your mood swings go up, you increase the chances of insulin resistance because insulin resistance comes from high amounts of potential cortisol in the system. And of course, it also deposits belly fat. So now you start putting all the pieces of the puzzle together and you start to go, oh my gosh. So actually isn't the root of a lot of this, and then of course there's many reasons, but the root of a lot of this is inflammation of your system. If you can address inflammation, this is why Michelle Carson was such a great example, because we within 1.5 weeks was able to help her bring down that inflammation, changed her body like in this unbelievable, like her picture was what we were just like this, like looking at it, like, this is amazing, you know, because she didn't realize how much inflammation affected her. And this is kind of why I say you need to address inflammation to break the inflammation cycle. And once you break the inflammation cycle, then you can start to really look at dropping that belly fat. The belly fat will start to come down. Your hormones will rebalance. You'll have a better potential to build muscle. And so to answer your question, I see Jennifer said brain fog. Yes, it causes brain fog as well. And you said, how do you lower cortisol? So simply in terms of just like a straight answer is you need to manage your cortisol by managing your stress levels, your mindset. You must know your nutrition. You have to know how to bring down inflammation in your food and learn what is causing massive inflammation in your eating. So this is actually why I built the 21-day anti-inflammation system, is because after working with hundreds and hundreds of you menopausal women, is seeing like, wow, this is crazy. Like literally I'm seeing women's skin go from cellulite to smooth skin, from super red and puffy. Rosalinda, are you on here? You know this. It was you. Super puffy and red to clear skin and smooth skin, to belly fats protruding, to belly fats going pretty much flat. You guys might have seen Rosalind's, her picture was on the original launch of the 21-day program, from the big belly in 7 weeks to flat. What that all is inflammation. So when you can truly address it, it will change everything. And so the 21-day anti-inflammation program is to address the inflammation markers in your food. But also, there's a muscle sculpting masterclass I put in there, because let's talk a little bit about hormones. So this point is all about your hormones out of whack. That's why you have trouble building muscle. And if you don't get your hormones in place, you're going to struggle for a long time, right? In the muscle sculpting muscle class, I actually talk about the with estrogen dropping and progesterone dropping, you now need to learn how to tap your other hormone levels, which is your HGH and your insulin growth factors. HGH and your insulin growth factors have way more to do with your muscle growth in this stage of your life. So it's really important that you understand how to actually properly nurture the HGH and insulin growth factor responses to produce better muscle growth. So in that course, in the muscle sculpting masterclass, it's in the 21-day program. It is going to help you also understand better how to balance your hormones and how to eat to balance those hormones. So if you are wanting to learn about the 21-day program, like I said, we only have the last 2 days here to register. Put 21 below so that you can learn more about it. And obviously we go through, there's a link that goes through the details on it. But this is why I built it, because it is something I keep saying, like, if you work out a lot, you think you overall eat healthy, but somehow you're still struggling with belly fat, or somehow you still, just like don't have the muscles you want, you know things are different in your body, is because the truth is things are different in your body. I see lots of 21 coming in. So Margaret, Cindy, Trina, Maria, Timbra, we see the 21s. Because things are different in your body, and you must address the difference. The difference is your hormones are different now. And I want you to keep in mind that if you don't address inflammation in your system, menopause is the inflammation breeding ground. Aging is the inflammation breeding ground. And in the course, I talk about why people have diseases and eventually die is because of inflammation in the system. The system gets overtaken by inflammation, becomes diseases, and then people die. So when your body's inability to deal with inflammation is not caught up, your body starts to break down faster and faster. I just think that it's not a topic that's taught well enough, and it's not emphasized enough. I'm a very strong believer that inflammation, if it's not addressed early enough, you are going to face not only menopausal symptoms, but a lot more diseases down the road. And this is why I believe that at the very least, you must address this first issue beyond anything else. But of course, after inflammation, you should learn other things like your calories, your macros and things, but like inflammation is so important. And so I see lots of 21. We are going to reach out to you and we'll send you information on it. You only have 2 days left to register. So when we send it to you, please check your messenger, because a lot of people are not checking their messages. And unfortunately, if you miss it, that's it. Like you missed the cutoff deadline. Okay. So make sure you check your messenger and let us know when you have signed up. Okay. Awesome. So, number 5, last point here, okay, is so you don't see proper muscle development and all of that, is you fail to have proper rest and recovery. Now, this one I think a lot of people know, but I do think it's something that's often like easy to say, but easy not to do, if that makes sense. A lot of people are like, oh, I know rest and recovery is really important. Oh, Yvonne, you just jumped in. Yvonne is another great example, because Yvonne, you were in the FFF program and how much we brought down inflammation in your system, right? Like you had just phenomenal changes in your body in the FFF program. But yeah, so for number 5, it's easy not to do. So it's very easy to like push ourselves and go all day and not have proper rest and recovery in our training. So make sure that in your training, you have planned rest days and recovery days so that you don't overtrain, right? So yes, Ivani, you said, yes, it was wonderful. Yes. So awesome. And your blood pressure came down. I know that was so great. And yeah, I know your clothing, your bra size is decreased. I remember all the things that you mentioned. So, and the aches and pain in your body went down. So in terms of rest and recovery, you need rest and recovery for proper muscle repair and for protein synthesis. Okay, your body cannot have proper protein synthesis if it doesn't have the right rest and recovery. And proper rest is really important for better growth, muscle growth, and hormone balance. So it comes down to cortisol again. So there's my cortisol again. Okay, if you don't rest and recover, your cortisol becomes too high, and then again your body cannot take the resources it needs to go build muscle, because cortisol inhibits estrogen, testosterone, growth hormone. And if you want growth hormone to work for you, you need proper rest and recovery. And so you want to make sure rest and recovery, rest days is the days where you don't really do much of anything, like you kind of just rest. There's those days you may want that. And recovery would be like lighter days where maybe you're not pushing the weights as hard. You want to go lighter. You want to make sure you're stretching. You want to make sure you have the lighter things that kind of just moves your body and the blood flow, but not like pushing your muscles super hard and lifting. So making sure you have a little bit of that in your programming is really important. Okay. As well as part of proper rest and recovery is proper hydration. Okay. Now, I know a lot of women do drink enough water, but often forget to drink water. So your rest and recovery is not going to be complete, and your muscle growth will be inhibited if you don't have proper hydration in your body. So at least 8 cups a day, you guys know the standard, and making sure you get adequate sleep. And yes, I know a lot of you tell me, but I can't sleep, Clarice. I keep getting up. I have poor sleep quality. Tracy, are you still on here? I know she struggles with sleep a little bit. Sleep and proper sleep, are you guys ready for this? Is related a lot to your hormones. Because of the fluctuating hormones and the imbalance of the hormones, why you actually have trouble sleeping. So we can balance out the hormones. So going back to the point I said above, you will sleep better. And improper sleep also often is connected with inflammation. If your body's under too much cortisol spikes and inflammation, you're going to have trouble sleeping. So it ties back to addressing hormones, okay? Getting your adequate rest and recovery has to do with actually controlling your hormones in the right balance, right? So get your 6 to 8 hours of rest, get your hydration, schedule rest days in. And one more thing about proper rest has to do with your gut-brain axis, okay? So if you didn't watch my last live about gut health, you can request the gut health here. You can ask for gut health. But there's a huge correlation between gut-brain axis, okay? So they communicate to each other. First brain is here, second brain is your gut, okay? Your gut is the second brain, okay? So if you're really, really stressed and you don't have proper mental well-being, that definitely will affect your gut system. It will affect your appetite signals, your craving signals, your proper nutrition absorption, how well food is going to move through your system, and the amount of digestive enzymes that are secreted. So why is this important? Is because if you want to build good muscle, but you have poor digestion and poor gut functioning, poor nutrition absorption, you're also going to have major problems with building muscle. So rest and recovery is extremely important because you want everything to start to function well. You want hormones balanced. You want your gut to be calm. You want your gut to be secreting the right digestive enzymes. So make sure you guys work on, I said it earlier, mindset is very important. Make sure we don't forget this 8-pound organ here, okay? 8 pound. We need to keep this brain alive. They say it's like when someone is, I was taking my CPR course again. They say, you want to do CPR on someone to keep what alive? You're like, everyone's like, heart? No, the brain. You want to keep the brain alive. You're like, okay, so the brain is one of the most important organs. This 8-pound organ is like, you need this 8-pound organ for proper functioning. And so mindset, don't forget, work on your mindset. And if you struggle with that, maybe put mindset below, because I will tell you a lot of my clients, after they have learned nutrition. Joanne, are you on here? I hope you are. And Cindy, you're on here too. I know we talk a lot about this. After you have worked on macros, calories, inflammation markers, proper workout programs, sometimes people have all of those in place now. And the last one they keep forgetting is mindset. And then their mindset derails, their mindset goes down, they get stressed. Sherry, we talked about this, mindset derails, and then all the other things you did before derails, okay? So don't forget to work on your mindset. That is something that's very crucial, and to get your proper rest and recovery. So I see people requesting gut health. Yeah. Awesome. And so how many of you feel like you need to work more on mindset or proper rest and recovery for yourself? Put it below just to identify for yourself that maybe you need to rest a little bit more or work on mindset to make sure you have a healthier body as well as have greater muscle building potential. Okay. So perfect. We are right around the 7:30 mark for Emmy. So this is that's the wrap. That's the 5 points of why you're not seeing more defined muscles. And hopefully it added lots of value. This was actually 15 points, to be honest, because I put so many points in the ones before. But hopefully it makes sense. And if you need help, then please reach out, put help below or put programs below. And I would just emphasize, because a lot of people tell us after we close off the 21-day program, oh, I wanted to do the program. Oh, when are you doing the next 21-day program? Don't procrastinate, okay? Do it, because the 21-day program is changing and we probably are not going to have it again for a long time. So I just want to just put it out there, because we are changing it. So this is your last chance to really get in. This is one of our entry-level programs at the lowest cost. Like, for those of you who have my coaching, like coaching is a lot more. So if you want to learn information, this is your chance to do it. So, okay, hopefully this added value, and if it was, tag other people on it, and I will see you all next week. Sending you all lots of love. Bye.